This lesson is over expanded form using Styrofoam cup place manipulatives. The standard that goes with this lesson is NVT 8.3. Read and write numbers to 1000 using base 10 numerals, number names, and expanded form. After this lesson, students will be able to read and write numbers using expanded form with 80% accuracy. The learning target for this lesson is being able to read and write numbers using expanded form. Prior to this lesson, students will have already learned writing numbers in word form and base 10 form. Because of that, the pre-assessment will have some prior questions to that. Here's the pre-assessment. It will be 3 questions that asks the student to write 415 in word form. It will ask the student how many 10-piece blocks would you use to represent 768 and then draw them. And lastly, the student will be asked what 56 is in expanded form. The first 2 questions will be review, and the last question will be just seeing what the student knows about expanded form already. I made it multiple choice so that they have a clue of what to look for. The resources that will be used in this lesson will be a smart board that will be able to display the pre and post assessment, and then each student will need their own piece of paper right here, their guided notes, and then their own note card or piece of paper for their pre and post assessment. Each child will get a set of place value cups, a personal whiteboard, and a dry erase marker for the lesson. To start the lesson, students will be asked to answer the 3 pre-assessment questions posted on the smart board. After giving the students a couple of minutes to answer, we will go over each question, and I will begin by allowing the students to talk one-on-one about what they know about each question. This will be an open discussion type of ordeal that will give me a better understanding of how much the students remember from the previous 2 lessons on word form and base 10 form, as well as letting the students feed off of each other and build schema. Next, I will pass out a set of place value cups to each student. This is what the place value cups look like. For this lesson, there's only 3 because we're only going up to the number of 1,000. The first cup is the ones place, and it simply has 1 through 9 labeled on here along with zeros, as you can see. The second cup is the tens place, and when the second cup is covered, you only see the red numbers, but as you take it off, you actually get to see the expanded form. As you see, 80 equals 8 times 10. 90 equals 9 times 10, and so forth. And then lastly, the hundredths place shows the same thing, only for hundredths. 100 equals 1 times 100, 200 equals 2 times 100, 300 equals 3 times 100, so on and so forth. Students will be able to use this in the lesson by moving these pieces around to whatever number they want. So if they're looking for 2,209, they would look at this, and then they can open the cups to see the expanded form. So starting with the very first number, 27, students should have already have the first 2 columns of their worksheet filled out as so. They've already know the word form and the base 10 form. I will go over how expanded form is simply writing base 10 form to another level. It's breaking it down one more step. So to start out, I will have the students take off their hundredths cup, place it on the desk, and maneuver their cups into 27 position. Here we have right here at 27. And then first I'm going to ask the students just to undo the first cup and see that 20 is 2 times 10, and have them write that. And then I will make sure to explain that after each cup you put an addition sign. So you don't times 20 times 7, you add an addition sign. So it will be plus 7. I'll make sure to give the students time to ask questions and answer them accordingly. Then we will do the next example, 365. This is where the hundredths cup will come in. So we'll find 3 6, and 5. And at this point, I'll probably ask the students if they can answer what 300 would be without looking at their cup. The cups will be a bit of a fallback for if they don't know how to do it. So if they don't, they open it up. 300 equals 3 times 10. 60 equals 6 times 10. And then you have 5. So you should look like this. An expanded form will look like 3 times 100 plus 6 times 10 plus 5. After the first two examples I will be putting on the smartboard, I will allow the students to try the next example by themselves. 702 will be a bit of a tricky example because of the 0 in the middle in the tens place. Seeing what the students have for this answer will really show me if they are understanding place value or not. After giving the students a few minutes, I will call on students individually and ask them what they got for their answer, and then correct them accordingly. Then lastly, I will have them write 19 on their own again and do the same. If more examples are needed, then I will continue to write more examples on the smartboard if time. After this part of the lesson, we will have the complete 4 ways to write a number worksheet filled out, and students will use this as their notes. For our formative assessment, I have put together mostly questions that deal with base 10 because that was the lesson for this, but it also has a couple of review questions. So the first one says, using expanded form, find the tens place value for 572. To do this, students would simply write 500, find 500, find 70, and find 2. And then look for the tens place right here. And they would see that simply you would need 7 tens. The second one says, write 235 in expanded form. Students will be able to use their cups once again. 3 says, draw 972 using base 10 pieces. This is simply a review question for the students. Number 4 says, true or false. The number 537 is written 537. This is trying to trick students to see if they notice the and between 100 and 30, because this is not needed. And the last question says, write 15 in expanded form. Since we have been going over 3-digit numbers, I figured I would see if they can do a simple teen-digit number instead. After the post-assessment, students will be asked several comprehension questions. The following questions will be reviewed after the formative assessment in order to promote higher thinking and reveal any kind of misconceptions the student may have on content. Why is it important to know how to break down numbers by their place value? Why is place value important when dealing with money? When can you use expanded form in the real world? And how can base 10 form help you understand expanded form? If students need accommodation, they will have the opportunity to work in smaller groups with a co-teacher who will be able to better help with more individualized attention that I cannot give the entire class. And if students with diverse needs need extra help, they will have the option of following along on the worksheet, although the worksheet will already be filled out for them, and all they will have to write is the answers. So this is the lesson on base 10 expanded form using Styrofoam